Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back for another animation analysis video. And if you can hear the birds chirping in the background, that's not because I'm recording at 6 a.m. for once. That's actually because I'm recording with my window open, trying to get a little bit of fresh air in my room because I just cleaned, so all the cleaning supply smell is in here, so I'm just trying to let it out. So excuse me if you hear the nature ambiance. But today we're going to be taking a look at some Golden Week animations that I sort of overlooked. I know you're probably thinking, well, we talked about both of the Dokkan Fest units, so what exactly are we going to be taking a look at today? Well, I did not do an animation analysis video on the two unfeatured units, of course, that being the new AGL Vegeta and the new Fizz 16 and 18, and that's because this time around they had their own video. A lot of the time for these dual Dokkan Fests, what they'll do is for the unfeatured featured banner units, right, the units that will eventually be in the unfeatured pool but are the unfeatured banner unit on the brand new banner, right, they'll give them a separate SA video if there's too many SAs in the regular SA video. Like, they'll usually just throw them in there if it's one Dokkan Fest unit that's brand new. But if it's a dual Dokkan Fest and they literally have two videos that are already long enough with just the one unit's animations, they'll split it up like this. And I had someone on my live stream that I stream every single Friday on twitch.tv/DokkanAssets. Definitely check it out if you have not yet. I play Dokkan every Friday. They were asking me if I could take a look at this guy's animations on stream because they are actually really good. They are absolutely incredible. And so I decided, you know what, even though I did take a look at them on stream, let's go ahead and take a look at them here today for an actual video, because I think these might be contending for some of the best animations of the year. Definitely not the best, right? But I think that this unit beats out some Dokkan Fests in terms of animations. We are going to watch through this one time, of course, as per usual on normal speed. We will take a look at both the SAs, even though the focus of the video is definitely going to be on Vegeta. Unfortunately, these guys are not that great in terms of their SA. They're very okay. This is the section that I think is definitely the best part, except for the beams. But Vegeta's is just like on another level. I don't know what they were doing with my boy Vegeta when they decided to do this, but this is like a Dokkan Fest level SA. Just the quality of it, the fluidity of the movement is insane, my boy. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at these SAs. Now, one other thing that we have to keep in mind while we're watching these is I do keep these SAs to a little bit of a lower standard than Dokkan Fest SAs, because obviously I'm going into this with the mindset knowing that, of course, this isn't supposed to be as high quality as a Dokkan Fest unit, right? Because, of course, it's just the unfeatured banner unit. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. We have some nice slight movement on Android 16 and Android 18. Before they jump forward, I do like that they have 18's hair flip up. And I also really like as well the movement on 16's hair. I think that that looks really, really cool. And I feel like I don't know if I've ever seen 16's hair move in Dokkan, so that's pretty cool. These pose changes are super jarring though. Again, obviously I am keeping this to a little bit of a lower standard. I'm not going to be as critical because I know that they are unfeatured banner units, right? But that shift in pose for 18 and then that shift in pose for 16 is definitely not great. But we have the two gamers fly forward, and I will say one thing that is just kind of present throughout this entire animation is that these punches feel like they lack a lot of impact, right? Like, I think that 18 looked okay. Even in full motion, it still looked a little bit janky with just the quick movements, even though quick movements usually kind of get the point across for a punch. Even these left a lot to be desired. There was still some good minimal movement on this, but it really didn't feel like that these punches and kicks had a lot of impact in them. I do like that slight movement, though, on 18 there with the kick towards Cell. But then we have 16 come in. I will say this is also a bit of a weird cut because it's like 18's kicking and then it just goes right until like the sky, the ground is not there anymore, right? And it's just the sky with 60 moving forward. This shot, I will say though, very, very good. This is definitely one of the best shots of this SA for sure. I wish this was longer. Like, I wish it had him sort of flying by the screen rather than cutting to him moving forward immediately to move past 18 here as she jumps away. This was also a super jarring movement too, even in full-time speed, having him go from the flying forward position to immediately being ready to punch. It's weird too, because I think this sort of takes you out of the moment of like, you're not really, what's the, I can't think of the correct word when like you're sort of taken out of something. You're taken out of the immersion, right? Because obviously he's flying forward and now it looks like he's standing on the ground, right? And he's looking at a really tall tripod about to punch the screen. I don't know. It's a very jarring sort of change of pose. And then obviously this is a very quick cut from here to here. So, you know, of course, that's also a big jump as well. Again, not a lot of impact on the punch. That is a really, hold on a second. That was really weird. I don't think I actually noticed the way that that looked in the proper essay. Very, very goofy looking, if I do say so myself. There's a little bit of hair movement there, though. Yeah, and then even the jump doesn't really feel like it has a lot of, like, oomph behind it. I will say this shot does look very nice. I think these are definitely some of the best-looking assets in this entire essay, right? They're shaded very nicely. And ironically enough, I really like the charge up here of both of these, and I love the shading that they have on both of them, right? The pose is also really good for both of them, too. But then, once they actually launch the beam, right? Unfortunately, the beams are very lackluster for this animation, right? They are quite literally my least favorite kind of key blast. Thankfully, though, they do a good job of getting the lighting effects correct on the characters, but the key blasts are literally just lines, and then they try and make this one more interesting by having the little things that would be going around it, right? Sort of come down and rain down with it, but these are literally just line PNGs going down towards the sky. Like, I have seen better key blasts from Dragon Ball Heroes, bro. Very unfortunate to see, considering how great some of the key blasts have been recently. I will say, however, this explosion effect at the end is fantastic. I love the quick shot of blue, the lava exploding here, or I guess it would just be the key, right? More like making it look like lava. And the rocks breaking as well. Looks very, very nice. They definitely did a good job with that part. So let's go ahead and move on to the boy Vegeta, because this is where things get crazy. So already, oh my gosh. So I have seen a couple of like fan animated essays of this scene in my time too. And this literally just looks like the professionals at Bandai looked at those scenes and was like, yeah, we're going to make it look like it came right out of Dokkan. And I love those fan ones because I think they look fantastic, but they absolutely decimated it here with this essay. They made it look so good, right? So we have the very cool electricity effects. We have a very nice silhouette of Vegeta as he's powering up. Obviously, in the anime, a lot of the time when characters are powering up, you know, you have their theme song playing, and they're like, you know, you have this sort of like flashing of their silhouette. This is so cool, by the way. This shot where like the key is sort of enveloping Vegeta, and you can only see a bit of his shadow from it. Ooh! That is such a nice shot. I am a huge fan of that. Then obviously we cut back to the electricity. Vegeta himself, by the way, looks so good here. I know a lot of the time I talk about how I'm more impressed by key blasts and effects. And by the way, the key and electricity does really good here. And as well, they even nailed the little bits of key that sort of represent that this isn't just like a solid object or like a solid piece of light, right? There's different like shades of light moving in and out throughout the key. They nailed that from Dragon Ball 2. I think Vegeta looks so good here. It looks so good. Really, really like this. So obviously we have a cut down to his feet. I will say this is the one part of the essay that I'm definitely not a fan of. This cut here, it is a little bit awkward. I feel like if this was a proper Dokkan Fest unit, maybe this wouldn't have been as awkward as a cut, but you know, it is what it is. I think even in this shot though, Vegeta still looks, oh, beautiful. Very, very cool. We obviously have a very nice jump off the ground. I think the jump looks cool. That's a perfect cut, by the way. That's a great place to cut if you're not going to have any kind of transition, right? Having him cut from jumping to flying forward. And oh boy, does he look really good here. I think Vegeta looks perfect in this scene where he is flying up here. Looks really, really good. Again, the shading is spot on. The only thing that I will say, again, I feel like if this was a Dokkan Fest unit, maybe there would be a little bit more frames in between this guy. But obviously, the changes in poses here is a little bit awkward because it's so quick, right? But I still think the Vegeta looks very good overall. And I feel like I've seen this asset here somewhere else. I can't put my finger on it, though. Let me know in the comments if you recognize it. Is it an STR Vegeta's card art, maybe? Something like that, but it still looks really, really good for sure. Obviously, the scream as he's charging forward. A very funny transition, by the way, here, where they have it zoom into his mouth, and his mouth, like, obviously is open a little bit more. And then obviously it pans out to Vegeta here with this very nice white background. And this, I will say, is a little bit of an awkward transition too here. But again, the lighting and the shading is so good. I think it's just because it's so quick. If they had a little bit more wind up on the hand, it wouldn't be that bad. But immediately seeing it go from like here to looks like Vegeta's about to wind up and hit you to high five Kakarot, you know, is a little bit goofy looking for sure. But definitely a very cool shot, and obviously some very interesting perspective with obviously the camera being right in Vegeta's hand and him being very far off. I love when they do perspective like this. It's really cool. So obviously then we have a zoom out, and the Ki Blast looks really, really cool. A very nice shot of perspective here, by the way, with the Ki Blast actually coming out of his hand, right? And you're sort of right up against it, and they move back. Love that perspective. Very, very cool. So obviously we have this hit cell, but we are definitely not done yet. This shot looks really, really good with Vegeta standing there looking at the blast, you know, as the light sort of envelops him here. Does this transition how I think it does? Okay, not as good as it doesn't like fade out. I feel like it would be a lot better, but still decent. This is a really nice shot, by the way, with Vegeta here. I didn't even notice that his hair moves here a little bit. That's really cool. Obviously, we also have the color in the frame change because, of course, that's supposed to represent him being enveloped by his aura, which is a very nice touch of detail. Then, obviously, we have the card art come on the screen here, which I love this style, by the way. It reminds me a lot of Super Vegeta, funny enough, the STR one. And then we have this shot, which, oh my gosh, oh, let me play it for you. Let me play it for you. It looks so good. Oh my gosh, it looks really good. The only thing that I could complain about, and you honestly don't even see it in the actual like animation, is that the Ki Blasts are weirdly flat, right, when they're against his hand here, right? Even on the shots where they're in the background, right, they're like just very flat and they sort of cover his hands. Again, I think that's sort of something because this is an unfeatured banner unit, you know, they cut a little bit of corners for the boy. And then obviously that way, right, they don't have to you know, worry about like animating it in his hand. But in motion, you literally can't even tell. And honestly, it's so good. Vegeta looks amazing in this shot. Really, really good. The smoke effects here look great. The Ki Blasts actually have a lot of life to them and very good movement, even though this is kind of blurry, unfortunately. This shot, oh, is so good too. This shot is really good. Vegeta looks fantastic himself here. The Ki Blasts look really, really nice. Very, very good shot here of Vegeta. This might be one of my favorite Vegeta shots in the game. This is very, very cool. So obviously then we have the transition to the explosion. I think this is probably the same asset that they use for this pose, but I mean, that's okay. It's not really that big of a deal. And I mean, he is still kind of in the same pose because obviously it would be after just launching one Ki Blast. The rock effects and the smoke look fantastic here as well. I think they absolutely nailed that, especially with obviously the center point being right in front of Vegeta. I think they definitely did a very good job with that. So yeah, that is the Android 16 and Android 18's essays and the Super Saiyan Vegeta animations. Definitely let me know what you guys think of these guys in the comment section below. I definitely think that these are Vegeta's animations, rather, not, unfortunately, 16 and 18. Might be a contender for the best unfeatured featured banner unit essay of the year. Because it is really good. We have had some very good ones this year. But I don't know. Just with how fluid it is and how good it looks, whew, it's definitely a contender for me. It's definitely a contender for me. I think that this easily beats out some Dokkan Fest units, right? Raditz, in terms of their animations, right? I definitely kind of wish now that he would have been a Dokkan Fest unit so the animations could have been maybe even better than they are now, and they're already really, really good. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next animation analysis video. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.